was some intense questioning for stepmom Terry Horman, dad Kane, biological mom Desiree Young, and then not long after that, a 911 call from the Horman's house.
Something definitely happened at the house that night. A call was definitely placed. We do know that Kane and their child together did definitely leave the home.
Something happened in that 911 tape or that 911 call that can either be used as some type of leverage to get information, or it really points them in some new directions.
That 911 call, we believe, is now part of the criminal case.
It's keeping the focus on Kyron and the investigation to find him. There's a lot of distractions that can come up to that, and we're trying to limit those distractions.
Uncovered tonight, a mystery 911 call from inside the Horman home this past Saturday, 5:45 p.m. Within hours, Kyron's father has moved out. The fact that this restraining order, this emergency restraining order filed against the stepmother, the last one to see Kyron alive, it's sealed. But the fact that it is filed, and we know it bans her from seeing her own natural child, a 19-month-old little girl, and her child by another marriage. I believe that boy is 9 or 11 years old now. She can't see either one of them. It also bans her from being around firearms. For those of you just joining us, we are talking about a 7-year-old little boy, Kyron Horman, who goes missing from his own elementary school. How many of us take our children to, play school, elementary school, vacation Bible school, wherever, and you believe they're safe? Well, when the father and the stepmother go to pick him up off the bus, he never came off the bus. That's when the father learned he had never been at school that day. Although stepmom says she walked him almost all the way to his first class, and the bell rang and he was going in. That's her story. Now, I want to talk about, we're taking your calls live, I want to talk about Sobey Island. Sobey Island. James Pitkin with the Willamette Week newspaper joining us there at the school where Kyron disappeared. Apparently the stepmother pings off her cell phone, and we found this out last night, we're all around Sobey Island. Now, what is so crucial about that? It's only 9 miles away.
That's crucial because law enforcement sources say that it doesn't line up with her account of where she was that day. Apparently, she never listed Sobey Island among the locations that she visited, and yet her cell phone was pinging from that location.
To Kevin Miller, investigative reporter, is it true that she goes so far as to deny she was at Sobey Island?
Well, that's what investigators are trying to find out, Nancy, and again, they've limited what we actually know in this case, yes.
You're seeing shots of Sobey Island from SobeyIsland.org. It's absolutely beautiful, and I understand the family, Matt Zarrell, would go there together to a pumpkin patch every year, a couple of times a year. It is just beautiful. Is that correct? Are we talking about the same place, Matt Zarrell?
Yes, we are. The family, when they were on the morning shows late last week, they were saying that they felt that that might have been one of the reasons why the cops were visiting Sobey Island. They did not want to comment on the investigation. That may be why they didn't want to comment on the report about the cell phone pings.
To Mark Novak, former NYPD captain, the president of Global Security Group. Mark, thank you for being with us. Mark, have you noticed, as I have, that very often killers will kill or dispose of a body or evidence somewhere that they are familiar? And I remember analyzing the Scott Peterson trial before the body of Stacy Peterson and her unborn child Connor washed ashore at San Francisco Bay. And by that time, everybody knew about Scott Peterson's pack of lies and his mistress, blah, blah. And I remember talking about him hiding the body somewhere where he would be at ease, at home. I knew he was a hunter, and I knew he was a fisherman. So those are two obvious places to find locations where he had hunted or fished. Now I'm hearing that this stepmother frequently visited Sobey Island. Now police have been out there dredging the waters.
You're 100% right. My experience has been that if an individual is, if let's say she was involved, or any individual who's involved in some sort of crime, whether during the commission or after the fact, they're going to a place they're comfortable with. It's just human nature. You're not going to go and try and dispose of a body. You're not going to go and try and hide evidence in an area where you don't know Is it populated? Are there people around? You're not familiar with the terrain. So it's a natural human response to go where you're comfortable, go with what you're familiar with.
Think about it, Mark Novak. I mean, look at Robert Blake. I know some kooky jury acquitted him, but come on, please. Look where they found the murder weapon. This was his favorite Italian restaurant. He went there all the time. Where was the murder weapon? Thrown in the dumpster, right there where his wife was murdered. Hello? He might as well have taken out an ad that said, I did it.
Yeah.
And you see it over and over and over again.
And after the fact, the same holds true. You see these individuals, when somebody goes on the run, a lot of times they're going to go right to the spot they're most comfortable with. They're going to go to an area that they're familiar with. It's, again, as I said, it's just human nature. You go where you're comfortable.
You're preaching to the choir. Every time I would have a disappear, I go to his mommy's house and look under the bed. I'll call you in 30.
Yeah.
There he'd be. We are taking your calls to Kathy in Washington. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. What's your question?
My question is, a little earlier you mentioned something that has been on my mind, and that is the stepmother possibly using steroids and somehow a roid rage incident happened between her and Kyron?
Okay, God. Dana, sitting in for Liz, here's your one chance where it's actually relevant to show the photo. Now, keep in mind that these pictures were a couple of years ago.
5 years.
I don't know that she is still bodybuilding. Let's say a current day video of her, Dana. Okay, there you go. Now she just looks like a normal mom. I don't see that she's still into the bodybuilding phase. To Dr. Lee Vinokur, University of Maryland School of Medicine, joining us out of Baltimore. Dr. Vinokur, if someone had used steroids, and again, we're not saying she did or she didn't.
Right.
Okay? Don't care. I'm also telling you she has not been named a suspect in the disappearance of her little stepboy shown right here. Mm-hmm. But if you were on steroids, how long could that affect your behavior?
Well, I mean, I did look at the pictures. If you pretty much, it could affect your behavior for the short term, maybe week or month or so. But, you know, if you're not using them anymore, and the pictures I've seen of her, she certainly didn't look the way she looked in those bodybuilding pictures we saw. Probably a lot of that would be out of her system, so.
With us, Dr. Lee Vinokur from University of Maryland School of Medicine. To Candace in North Carolina. Hi, Candace.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, dear. What's your question?
I have a question. The photos that were taken, there would have been a lot of pictures taken that morning. Does anyone know if that picture was actually taken that morning, if it could have been photoshopped or whatever? You know, possibly from another picture that they had.
That's a really good question, Candace, North Carolina. Out to you, Matt Zarrell. We're talking about, I think Candace is talking about the photo of Kyron that morning at the science fair.
Yes, the photo was taken in his classroom. The science fair was in his classroom, and then he went out to look at other classrooms, to look at other science fair projects. Now, the stepmother had posted the photo on Facebook after the boy's disappearance. We don't know exactly when it was posted, but the stepmom did post it very soon after.
Okay, Matt, are you telling, there's the picture. So those of you familiar with Photoshop, you can tell me his project was on frogs. There you see the red-eyed tree frog there in the background. Now, could this have been Photoshopped? I don't know. But, Matt, I want to get something down about the timing. Are you saying that after she would have known he was disappeared, that's when she posted it?
We don't know exactly when it was posted because her Facebook page has been private from the beginning, but we do know that within a few days of the disappearance, this photo was posted.
To Mark Smith, polygraph expert, VP of New Jersey Polygraphist, joining us out of New York. Mark, thank you for being with us. Mark, we know that her family has said she was asked to take another polygraph. In your opinion, why would that be? And how many questions, what percentage of questions do you have to fail in order to fail a polygraph?
Polygraph is testing an issue using related questions. So if she doesn't tell the truth on one question, she's going to fail the test.